Hi, my name is Daniel, and in this video I will talk in a more detailed way about brokerage services and market data. Basically, as I already mentioned in my previous video, I hope you saw the product description video where I explained that we are specialized in software development of chart analytical and trading tools, which means that we do not sell market data or brokerage services. For this we have a huge list of partners which are at your disposal, and you can find our data feed and brokerage service partners on our website at AgenaTrader.com. What AgenaTrader supports based on the data, AgenaTrader is not limited by itself, it's limited by the data feed provider. So we can support end of day data, we can support intraday data and real-time data, and of course also delayed data depending on your subscription. But also note of course that your broker could also be a data vendor, so it is not necessary that you use a separate data feed, you could also use the feed of your broker. About the history length from this data, we are also not limited here. We have various settings to limit it to increase the performance, but if your data feed vendor provides you 10 years of history of historical data, 20 years of historical data, that's just fine with us. Support every order type supported by the broker, so if the broker has market orders, we can do it, limit orders, stop orders and stop limit orders. If your data feed provider also provides you with tick data, AgenaTrader can also show it, since we are able to not only show time-based charts like starting from 1 second, 1 minute, 5 minutes and so on. We can also support you with tick-based charts. This is like a tick chart, a range chart, Heikinase charts and several more. As I already mentioned in my previous video, our asset classes which we support, we are a multi-asset platform, regular stock market, forex market, futures market, and for not US citizens the CFD market, and we will very soon, by end of 2017 and beginning of 2018, we will also have option trading available in AgenaTrader. What I also mentioned is that we are a multi-connectivity platform, which means that you are able to connect to a broker, a separate one, and a data feed simultaneously. You can use several brokers at the same time, or even use several data feeds at the same time. But my next step would be that I would like to show you how in detail, step by step, you can set up this kind of connections, and we will just move to AgenaTrader, to the AgenaTrader regular workspace, which you might have opened already, and I will show you how to set up a brokerage and a data feed and some multi-connectivity connections. As discussed, you can find data and brokerage services via our website AgenaTrader.com. Just use a regular web browser like Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, any you desire, and type in the link. Then go to the top navigation, partners, and on the very left side you will then see that we have several partners like AgenaTrader brokers and data feeds, for example. Let's click on AgenaTrader brokers, which will load the broker web page, landing page, and if you scroll down a little bit, you already see the various broker partners we are partnered with. You have technology providers, you have some brokers which serve or which offer sponsored licenses, which could be free licenses or reduced priced licenses, and you have also other brokers who can be connected to the AgenaTrader software. Please note, for the technology providers, for example, some of them are brokers themselves, others only provide brokerage services for companies. For example, Interactive Brokers is a broker itself, but also provides technology for CapTrader. This is the trading workstation. So any broker who uses trading workstation could be connected with AgenaTrader. Gain Capital is a broker by themselves and a technology provider. Rhythmic, for example, provides what we can connect futures data, for example, for trade futures for LAS, AMP, Stage 5, Optimus Trading. These are mainly futures brokers. So in order to connect to one of these brokers, you have to open an account with them, tell them that you need a Rhythmic account, and then you can connect to this Rhythmic connection. To open an account, just click one of the broker logos, and you see that you can open a live account, a demo account, trial account, and you will find a connection guide, which is a video for each connection, how you set up this connection step by step and specifically for this broker. As you can see, when you open the request demo or trial or live account button, you will be forwarded to the web page of the broker, and signing up will get you in touch with the broker to open this kind of accounts. Ally Invest, for example, you have some broker specific information on this page. Again, the connection guide. Ally is connected via the MP trading technology. So again, the connection guide just for this technology. And you can open a live account by entering the email address and send it to them, or of course a trial account. What you see here at the bottom is a checkboxes basically, which show you which kind of asset classes this broker provide. So this could be futures, this could be forex, this could be CFDs, this could be the stock markets, and at some point also options. All right, let's go to the data feeds. As I mentioned, brokers can be data feeds, but if you don't have a brokerage account or you want a separate data feed, then go to partners, data feed, and you see our options. We have very good named companies here. Barchart, for example, and IQ Feed are based in the US. Lens & Partner would be based in Germany, and AgenaTrader would be based in Austria. Google, of course, US company. These are the Google Finance data end of day, which are pre-configured in AgenaTrader. Let's make a trial where I show you how to set up the IQ Feed connection. So you just go to live, open live account button or trial account button, whatever you prefer. The trial will run for 30 days, free of charge, and ends here. After you signed up, you are supposed to receive login credentials, and I would also recommend that you watch the connection guide video, which shows you step by step how to add this connection. If you would like to try any other data feed account like Lens & Partner, AgenaTrader or Barchart, just go ahead and open an account with them and get login credentials from them. Let's switch over to AgenaTrader, where I can now show you how to add a new connection to AgenaTrader, how to configure this connection, and how to load data with this connection. After you started the platform, you're probably landing in your own workspace or the default workspace, which comes with the first installation. At the very top, you have the main menu navigation, and on the main connections, you will find a few options. First one is connect. So here you can start the connections to one of your existing data feeds. So this must be accounts which you added or were pre-configured in AgenaTrader. Like I have several account connections here. If I would be connected, I could disconnect via the second option. The fourth option would allow me to stop the loading of history data, and with the third option I can add a new account. This opens the account connection setup window, which shows all the available connections which are already added to AgenaTrader and allows you to add a new connection. The very same window can be found under Tools, Settings, Account Connections. Like I already said, the Connections tab, the first tab, will show all the available connections you have added or were pre-configured, either feed or broker or both. So I will just open the email with my account credentials from IQFeed, which I will now need to add this new connection. Here we go. One thing we have to know about IQFeed, which will be shown in the connection guide, that IQFeed would need a separate client you need to install. For installing it, you go to the IQFeed webpage and go for download IQFeed client, and the first download right here allows you to download this software and later on install it, which is required in order to connect to IQFeed. After that, you go to Add, you enter a connection name of your choosing, then select the provider. In this case it would be IQFeed, but as you can also see here, we all the other connections you could establish with AgenaTrader. So this is the menu here with the providers where all the available connections are to be selected. With the next button, I now have the possibility to enter my login credentials, the user ID from IQFeed, as well as the password which you received. You can, if you want, enable the auto login. If you want to see futures contracts, you can choose between continuous future contracts or back adjusted future contracts, which are then a default setting. The last option with simultaneous history connection is obsolete. We needed this in the past, we will remove it for the future. And when you click the finish button, it will open the import instrument and instrument list pop-up. When you do this the first time, it will import all the mappings for IQFeed automatically. If you do it create another connection for IQFeed, you have to just simply select IQFeed and then click the import button. In the next tab, you can import pre-configured instrument lists. This is basically a list of symbols, markets, which you can then open with a chart container. And as you can see, we have all the common ones inside, like the S&P 500. We even have this S&P 500 divided in 5 lists, the Nasdaq 100, the Forex majors, the Dow 30, and so on. In the third tab, the instrument list broker specific, you can now also import instrument lists which were created by brokers or data feeds. With a click on the import button, it downloads and saves them. With another click of OK, you finish the setup. Afterwards, you can find the IQFeed connection at the bottom, and you have to select it as a feed since it has to deliver data. So we click the checkbox right next to it. We could edit this connection again if we want to change something by just selecting it and click the edit button, or we could remove it as well by just selecting it and clicking the remove button. This disconnected all button would only be active if I have an active connection and allows me to disconnect from all current open connection and with one click, in order to edit and add new feeds, because you cannot do this if you're connected with any connection. The second tab now is showing the data feeds, which I have selected as feeds, and I have here my IQFeed connection, the Google feed connection, and Yahoo feed connection. As you can see in the instrument types column, I'm now able to select which kind of instrument types, asset classes I want to load with this kind of data feeds. And the same thing I could do with the accounts tab with my broker. By clicking on the OK button, it will automatically then start the connection. Please note this only works if you add a new connection. If not, you have to go to main, connections, connect, and select the wanted connection, and immediately the data will be downloaded. As you can see, you have on the bottom right the history downloading progress bar, which shows you how long it might take to download all the data. In the log you find some information, some warnings that probably some symbols couldn't be loaded, which could mean that you're not subscribed for this kind of markets. But as you can see, by clicking through the instrument list of the Dow 30 or the world indices, data is loaded. And as you can see in this chart, this would be even a tick data chart of Heikin Ashi. Some forex charts, some future chart of the FGBL. On the bottom left, you can see now here the delayed data node. This would mean that this data is not real time, but it comes with a delay of probably 10 to 15 minutes depending on your data feed. So if you want to have real-time data, please contact your data feed or broker and subscribe for real-time data for this market. As you can see here in the Forex, there is no delayed data sign because I'm getting real-time data. Same for stock markets. Let us add another account or edit an existing account to show you how to connect two data feeds simultaneously. You can do this if you don't have a second account yet with the request demo button, and you could request a demo, for example, from Barchart or TaiPan automatically. You just select the connection name, fill out your address details below and hit the request button. Same thing works for TaiPan. Please note, in the case of TaiPan, you have to accept installing a separate client, the TaiPan real-time client, which will be requested and installed automatically afterwards. But in my scenario now, I will simply edit an existing connection, which I call datafeed underline. I select it and then click the edit button. As you can see, the provider is actually AgenaTrader, so I will rename it to AgenaTrader. I will enter my login credentials. The roll days before roll on open interest is again for future contracts. Click the finish button and select it as a feed. Then I go to the data feed tab and define which markets, which data feed are supposed to download and show. So IQ feed, I'm selecting stock. AgenaTrader, I'm selecting future, currency and CFD. What should I do with the index? Probably I go back to IQ feed and also select IQ feed for showing me indices. So with these settings, I can now connect both the feeds simultaneously because I could divide the asset classes. And as you can see, I'm connecting to IQ feed. It automatically starts IQ feed client. I'm connecting to AgenaTrader, where no extra client is needed, and both the connection at the bottom left are now loaded, with AgenaTrader showing 30 symbols and IQ feed providing me 87 symbols. With a left mouse click and holding the last candle, I can now see from which time this last candle has started, like in the 15-minute chart. And I can see I have here intraday real-time data. With right click in the chart, I can reload the data if it's necessary. And in the scanner on the left side of the list chart group, I can edit the columns. And if you open the information tab and add the time column by a double click, OK is applying it, you can see when the last update to this chart, to this candle happened. So you can really find out if this is real-time data, what kind of data you selected, what was the last update of the candle. And with this, you immediately find out if your data is accurate.
at the chart toolbar, I can now switch through the time frames and the chart automatically will change to the specific time frame. Same for the futures contract. There is no delayed data sign here anymore because AgenaTrader account I have subscribed for real-time data, and that's why I'm getting it. If I open the DOM of the action bar, I also see that I'm receiving market depth. This is level 2 data, which needs to be subscribed separately because it's a much higher cost than level 1 data, and it shows me the order book, the limit orders in the order book, and I can make my strategies based on that. By clicking left click into the chart and typing in some symbol name, I can open the search and then select a new symbol, and as you can see, I switched very easily to the Nasdaq future. I'm switching the time frame to 10 minutes, and with my mouse wheel I'm zooming out of the chart. Mouse wheel up and down will allow me to zoom in and out of the chart. But about chart navigation, there is a separate video about charting of AgenaTrader, and I would recommend to watch this to get the complete info. And as you can see, for the Nasdaq 100 I have not subscribed for any level 2 data. That's why I'm not seeing any market depth, but what I still see is the times and sales, which gives me a price, contract size, and the given time when it was bought or sold. At the bottom right of the chart, where you see my mouse now, is a little progress bar which shows when the next candle is supposed to be finished. At the chart toolbar at the top, as you can see where I'm now going with my mouse, I can change this kind of bar timer by deactivating it, moving it to another position, or changing the style from a time bar to a text, which means I will see the exact time in text when this next bar is finished. Please note that this is not a counter. This time is only updated when a new tick arrives. And as you can see here in the 5-minute chart, the next 5-minute candle would be finished in approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds. Alright, let's add another connection. From main menu on the top to connections, and we will connect the SIM account, which allows for simulated trading. By opening the account connection setup again, I can now edit this kind of account. First, I have to disconnect from all the connections with the one click on the button here. I go to SIM account, edit. I can change the name if I want. I see the provider. I cannot change the provider by editing. If I want to change the provider, I have to add a new account. I click next, activate the change values button, which allows me then to select the currency, the cash value on my account for trading, and the buying power, which is the leverage of my account. In this setting, I could use $300,000 for trading. The order trigger can be adjusted to last price or bid and ask price. I can also set specific commissions. If I want to simulate my brokerage account, my real brokerage account, I can now add commissions with minimum commission amount and amount per unit. And this for each asset class separately. By finishing it, the account is now saved. I have to check if it is selected as broker account, and by clicking the OK button, I'm saving my changes. Now again, main connections connect, I'm connecting to IQ feed. Again, main connection connect, I'm connecting to AgenaTrader, and last but not least, I'm connecting to the SIM account. Now all 3 connections are connected. As you can see there, all connections are dark green and are connected right now. In this scenario, I'm receiving now data from do feeds, and I can trade to my simulated trading account, a sim account, which is just locally. Here you can see the quick trader, which is in the action bar right side chart. Let me just switch to a new symbol, which I explained by clicking in the chart. Start typing, I can search for new symbols. And you see here now with the quick trader, I get the market depth inside the chart. And by clicking the quick trader bars on the right side, I can now open trades with a fixed quantity I have preset, or closing it again. If I activate AT++ on the chart toolbar, which is the red button on the top, I can even select a specific pre-configured strategy where we have some examples for training purposes for you available. If I click now the quick trader, I'm receiving an entry order, including a stop loss order, including a target order, with a pre-calculated order size of 50, which is calculated based on my account size and my risk management settings. If I want to adjust the order bars, I can just drag and drop them to a different position, which you see will change the order size because I'm increasing my risk. And with this kind of settings, I can now buy only 65 contracts instead of 255. Order gets filled, my stop loss and target will be sent to the broker, and I can see if I'm making a profit or loss. I can close this position by dragging down the limit order, moving down the limit order, or click the X button next to the profit loss amount. Well, that's everything about connecting a data feed and using the simulated account for trading. I also showed you how to connect two separate data feeds divided by asset classes. This is the end of this video. There will be a second video which focuses on the brokerage connections, which comes right after that, and shows you how to add a brokerage account plus a data feed account and even multiple brokerage accounts.